Hello comic book guys and gals, and welcome to Comic Mag Musings. I am your host, Bill Miller. Welcome to the fourth installment of our Top 500 Pre-Code Horror Comics. In the early 20th century, pulp magazines developed the horror subgenre Weird Menace, which featured sadistic villains and graphic scenes of torture and brutality. The first such title, Popular Publications' Dime Mystery, began as a straight crime fiction magazine but evolved into more horror-related themes by 1933. Other publishers eventually joined in, though Popular dominated the field with dime mystery, horror stories, and terror tales. While most Weird Menace stories were resolved with rational explanations, some involved the supernatural. After the fledgling medium of comic books became established by the late 1930s, horror fiction elements began appearing in superhero stories, with vampires, misshapen creatures, mad scientists, and other tropes that bore the influence of the universal horror films of the 1930s and other sources. In 1935, national periodicals published the first story of Dr. Occult by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster in New Fun Comics number 6, where he confronts Vampire Master. In Detective Comics numbers 31 through 32, Batman fights a vampire. Now, before we get to our comics, let's have a quick reminder of the criteria. The comics had to have been published prior to carrying the Comics Code Authority seal, and the title had to primarily be a horror title. Some of the eligible titles are from other genres, but they switch to a horror context for a period of time. Lastly, these are not necessarily either the most popular or the most expensive horror books. They are simply the best horror comic book covers, in my humble opinion. It was almost painful to rank numbers 440 to 421, but it was a visual treat. I made a series of 25 videos with 20 entries in each one, so please join me for the next 20 covers as we count down the top 500 pre-code horror comic book covers. And we're off. At number 440, we have Haunted Thrills, issue number 7, from Feral, produced in March of 1953. Now, we're not positive about the cover artist, but it may have been someone from the Iger Studios. Samuel Maxwell Jerry Iger started the Eisner and Iger Studio to help package new material for comic book publishers. Eisner left in 1940, and Iger went on to become art director for Feral in 1955. At number 439 is Hand of Fate, issue number 23, from Ace Magazines, published in June of 1954. Unfortunately, the artist is unknown. An eerie graveyard and wonderful purple examples of The Walking Dead grace this comic book cover. Haunting us at number 438 is Forbidden Worlds, issue number 17, from ACG, published in May of 1953. The cover artist is Ken Bald. A blonde in red, with just one issue, she is a scary werewolf out for blood. At number 437 is Spellbound, issue number 11, from Atlas/Marvel, hitting the stands in January of 1953. We're not certain, but the cover artist may be Saul Brodsky. We have gorgeous dark colors, a creepy zombie playing coffin hooky, and those wonderful purple hues on the casket. Spooking us at number 436 is Forbidden Worlds, number 7, from ACG, hitting the stands in July of 1952. Cover art chores handled by Ken Bald. A wonderful red and black sky as a muted background to a classic battle cover between a vampire and a ghoul. And number 435 is Tomb of Terror, number 14, from Harvey, out in March of 1954. Cover art chores handled by Lee Elias. The greens dominate this image, featuring a creepy alien bug with eyes as big as flying saucers. Screaming away at number 434 is Strange Tales, issue number 8, from Atlas/Marvel. Produced in July of 1952. Cover art duties handled by Bill Everett. A lovely woman in a red dress who no longer has the burdensome task of choosing a burial plot. At number 433 is Strange Fantasy, issue number 5, from Feral, published in April of 1953. Cover art possibly by someone in the Iger Studios. This cover has several things going for it, with a hooded creep menacing a voodoo doll of a blonde in a red dress, and a wonderful candle burning atop a skull. Screaming away at number 432 is Adventures into the Unknown, issue number 14, from ACG, produced in January of 1951. Cover art by Ogden Whitney. A lovely blonde in a red top, rendered in that classic Frazetta/Dave Stevens style. At number 431 is Voodoo, issue number 3, from Feral, hitting the stands in September of 1952. Possibly someone from the Iger shop was tasked with the cover art. An awesome mad scientist lab, a blonde in a red dress, and a purple-robed old buzzard with a shoulder that carries another old buzzard. Absolutely love it. Fleeing into number 430 is Witch's Tales, number 1, from Harvey, produced in January of 1951. We're not positive, but the cover artist may be Al Avison. A wonderful yellow background, a gaggle of ghouls, and a woman in a red dress in bondage. A great cover. At 429 is Eerie Comics issue number 1, from Avon, published in January of 1947. Cover art handled by Bob Fujitani. Such a classic, understated comic cover from one of the PCH pioneers. It helps that we also have a woman in a red dress in bondage. Slashing into number 428 is Marvel Tales, issue number 123, from Atlas/Marvel, out in May of 1954. The cover art is by Harry Anderson. A foreboding image with skeletal zombies closing in for the kill. No way out, indeed. At 427 is Out of the Shadows, issue number 6, from Pines, hitting the shelves in October of 1952. We're not certain, but the cover artist may be Rocco Mastroserio. We have our victim in bondage, a flock of buzzards, and skulls abounding underneath a blood-red sky. What a super cover. Chopping away at number 426, we have This Magazine is Haunted, issue number 9, from Fawcett, produced in February of 1953. We're not positive, but the cover artist might be Sheldon Maldoff. We see a ghastly ghost, a blonde in a red dress, and some amazing shades of purple to help this image pop. And number 425 is Witch's Tales, issue number 22, from Harvey, published in December of 1953. Cover art handled by Lee Elias. Skeleton/zombie covers are always popular, especially when drawn by one of the PCH heavyweights. Appearing at number 424 is Startling Terror Tales number 14 from Star Publications, out in February of 1953. Cover art by L.B. Cole. A bloody crime scene, floating heads, and the eye-popping colors of L.B. Cole. At number 423 is Weird Comics, issue number 4, from Fox, out in July of 1940. Cover art by Joe Simon. We have a fella in bondage, but the scene is stolen by the blonde in a dark red dress who is threatened with a hot poker. Crawling in at number 422 is Tales of Horror, issue number 8, from Toby. Produced in December of 1953. Cover art is by Mel Kiefer. So simple and elegant, an expertly drawn snake in building with a beautiful red background. This is a fine cover. And to finish for today at number 421 is Web of Mystery, issue number 1, from Ace Magazines, published in February of 1951. The cover artist may be Warren Kramer. We have the ghost of a witch doctor or shaman, an aggressive snake, and a blonde in her nightgown. Hubba hubba. And that will do it for numbers 440 through 421 as we count down the top 500 pre-code horror comics. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you got to see some books you either haven't seen before or haven't seen in quite some time. Please leave a comment and tell me your thoughts. Do I have some ranked too high or too low? Or there's some that shouldn't have made the list at all? I'd love to hear your feedback, and don't forget to join me for the next installment as we count down numbers 420 through 401.